stop throwing your Reyna flashes like this. Instead, you should flash high so that they have to make a big adjustment and ruin their crosshair placement, while you just have to peek with it to get some very easy frags. It's important to note, when flashing high, if there is a player close to the flash, he may not get blinded by it. So if you do suspect a player could be at a close angle, you can flash behind where you are going to peek and high to get that person blinded as well. But before we get any deeper into today's guide, I need to take a quick second to remind you guys, if you want a chance at a free Valorant Battle Pass, go ahead and drop a like and comment hashtag installed Valorant Tracker, who is, by the way, today's lovely video sponsor and helped me to give back to you guys. You can use the guides tab on Valorant Tracker to learn lineups on any map or setups for any agent while you are mid-game, which is one of the reasons that I personally recommend using it. You can also easily check your lifetime stats for your account, including your agents, to see which agents you struggle with and should avoid, which weapons you aren't the best with and should try to improve with, and even what maps you need to work on or that you are best at. All this info will give you insight on which aspects of your gameplay need the most work, and it even has a match history tab to show you all of your recent games so you can visually see if you're having a off day and should possibly take a break. The live match feature is also really cool, as you can see a visual breakdown of all the ranks and stats of your team and the other team while you are in a game with them. If you want to improve every aspect of your gameplay and hit Radiant, check out the link in the pinned comment or description. Now let's get right back to the video. You also need to understand that Reyna's flash works as a near sight, so if they are close to you, they will still be able to see through the blind, and it will also only blind people in its line of sight. So on certain angles, flashing high may not work to blind certain angles. For example, on Ascent, if you flash high when coming out of A, if a player is inside of tree, he won't be affected by this flash at all. So in certain scenarios, depending on the angle, it's a good idea to flash above where you are going to path with your entry. So anyone looking at where you were going will be 100% blinded. It's also important to note that Reyna's flash will take a split second to bloom, so it's a good idea to wait for it to pop before peeking, or you may give the enemy an easy frag. If you want your flash to pop faster, however, you can throw it at the floor, and since it travels less of a distance, it will bloom faster. Be careful not to throw it inside of the floor though, because then it won't blind anybody. Another thing I personally like to do with Reyna's flash is to throw it through a wall to trick an enemy into thinking I'm coming from somewhere that I'm not actually coming from, and catch them off guard. For example, on split from B main, you can actually throw your Reyna flash into B heaven to trick an enemy on B into thinking you're coming from heaven and get some easy frags on them. You can also use your Reyna flash for info, since most players instantly shoot it to try and counter it. If you flash somewhere, an enemy will likely reveal themselves by breaking it, and this will give your team information that you can use to play around. Now let's talk about Reyna's heal. It's pretty self-explanatory, but there are a few things you need to know about it. First of all, when you are being healed, if you take any damage at all, the heal will stop temporarily, even if it's only for a single damage point. It's also important to note that you need to keep a line of sight on the healing beam or it will cancel. So make sure not to break the beam if possible, and please guys, stop healing when you're already 150 health. You only have 2 orbs. Oh, and another cool little trick when healing is if there is 2 soul orbs on the ground, you are actually able to heal while in the dismiss form, so you are invulnerable while you are also healing your health back. And if there's a soul orb in a position where you don't have a direct line of sight on, like hook on bind for example, you can actually just jump to heal and keep the beam going. As long as you continue to jump, it should full heal you. Now for Reyna's dismiss, it's one of the most important parts of the kit. This allows you to be able to abuse off angles that you wouldn't be able to use on other agents, and dismiss after getting a frag while also being invulnerable for a short period of time. Because if you dismiss and you don't have a teammate holding you, an enemy could very easily chase you down and catch you coming out of your dismiss. A very common mistake many low-level Reyna players make is not understanding when and how to use this ability. For example, in this clip, you can see I get a frag on the Reyna, and instead of instantly using my soul orb, I peek again, and after missing the shot, I dismiss to fall back into cover. This allows me to follow my teammate's Gecko ult up, and I end up getting 4 frags out of this round instead of possibly dying after missing the first shot on the fade. Next, we have Reyna's ultimate, which is basically just her dismiss and heal on absolute steroids. but let's talk about a few tips. When in her Empress, you are completely invisible during a dismiss, so you're able to pass through certain lines of sight without being seen, but they will still be able to hear you exit it. You can also shoot faster while inside of Reyna's ultimate, and yes, it does stack with Brimstone's stim beacon to shoot even faster. This dismiss in the ultimate works the same way as the normal dismiss does, so you can use the dismiss to get around neon stuns, cypher trips, killjoy mollies, sage slows, and basically every ability in the game. I try to recommend using it as soon as it's available, since you'll get it every 2 or 3 rounds. Now that I've shown you guys the absolute basics of playing Reyna, I am now going to show you all of the off angles that I think you should try to abuse in your rank games when you are playing Reyna for all of the maps in the current rotation. Stand on top of the box with an elbow and you can get this cool off angle for anyone swinging if you get a kill dismiss behind the pole. Or from behind the same pillar, you can play this angle and then dismiss to sight to fight with your team. Or you can stand on top of the box on B and then dismiss back into Boba after a frag. Or you can stand in B main, get the kill, and dismiss to close right. Beside the door on Lotus is a really strong off angle. You can dismiss all the way back to sight from it. Or at front B, you can play this off angle and dismiss to front B sight. Or in tree, you can hold this off angle and dismiss back safely into tree. For Ascent, this off angle covers the line to switch, get the frag, and you can dismiss back into safety. Or on Cat on top of the boxes, you can get the frag here and dismiss back inside a tree. Or in B main, you can hold this line and then dismiss to front B main. Or from lane, you can get a frag here and then dismiss back onto site so you can't be traded. If you push A short, you can have this off angle to see anyone pushing A short and have a easy dismiss back to site. Or in hookah, you can get a frag on this angle and dismiss right underneath hookah back to site. Or from long, you can dismiss from here and get back to long control. Or you can see pipes from on top of bench and dismiss back inside of showers. From bricks on breeze, you can dismiss all the way back to safety. Or from on top of mid pillar, you can get the frag on anyone trying to cross to B site. Or from B main, you can get the frag here and dismiss back to your teammates on B site. Or from garage, you can stand on top of the sandbags and then if you get a frag, dismiss back to back garage. You can also stand on top of the boxes front B. Anyone peeking in, you get a frag and dismiss back to A link. Or in short, you can hold the short push and dismiss all the way back to top short. Or this off angle long, you can then dismiss all the way back to site. You can hold this off angle for B main and then you can get a frag and just dismiss safely back to B site. Or from rafters, you can hold the B main push from here and if you get a frag, you can safely dismiss back into heaven. Or on rafters, you can hold the heaven push and if you get a frag, you can simply dismiss back into cover on rafters or drop. From ramp, you can hold the ramp push and then dismiss all the way behind the box in ramp. Or on top of the box, you can hold this line and kill anyone inside of A main and safely dismiss into heaven.